Something is definitely going on with NY'ALOTHA. We just datamined a brand new mount from the PTR talking about how NY'ALOTHA is rising. We just got a brand new NY'ALOTHA lore from the new lorewalking scenario telling us that Xal'atath built something so bad here that Xal'atath just had to attack and it was like an all-out thing. Almost certainly something was built here related to the world soul, hence the name the Sleeping City, and the second name the Sunken City, maybe because it sank when the Titans attacked the Black Empire. However, the Titans couldn't destroy it as we were told in Dragonflight. First they did the World Tree thing, then their machinery, but the ancient old god capital still remains hidden deep within Azeroth. As the fish told us at the start of this expansion, in the Void Sea where no light shines. And remember who always takes the form of a fish? Xal'atath. So what is going on, and are we actually going to see NY'ALOTHA? While having the best deals on the market for all games and software, Gamivo just added mobile top-ups for your favorite mobile games with the best prices that you can get with my Gamivo link in the description below. Best of all, if you use my code DORON, your discount will be even bigger, so make sure to use my link in the description and the code and check out Gamivo. So lately there has actually been so much talk, especially the past month, about NY'ALOTHA and its return, and it is pretty much all over the place. I did actually make a video on this returning sometime last year, as we already had a bunch of hints back then from the whispers, but now it's kind of becoming more and more obvious by the day. Of course, still hasn't been confirmed, don't get me wrong, but just this past month from the PTR, we got a time travel scenario to NY'ALOTHA, we got a mount description strongly hinting at the rise of NY'ALOTHA. So NY'ALOTHA itself, as you may remember it, is just a scenario from BFA. Back in BFA, this was sort of like a vision where Xal'atath won and we teleported into his capital city where it all happened. But with time travel, nothing is so simple or just that simple. We have been told over and over again, the old gods don't really die. They don't function in the same framework that we mortals do of the life and death cycle as well as the timeline that we live in. Most important hint happened in Dragonflight where we had a scenario where we traveled to the beginnings of the Black Empire while they were still battling the Elemental Lords, and most importantly, we got a hint from Xal'atath, like we got an actual whisper. Keep in mind, this was a time travel to the past through the Bronze Dragons, but Xal'atath not only recognized us, but he was talking to us like he saw us in the present, like he knew everything that was about to happen thousands of years later. I think the same thing can be said for these scenarios as well. Now at that point in time, just another vague old god whisper that could be applied to anything, who really cares? However, now in the newest patch, we literally got a Time Walker scenario that offered us the biggest old god lore hint ever, and not only built upon NY'ALOTHA, but it revealed some crazy things. If you've been following my channel, no need to really go on and on about the same thing in every video, but lately it has been built up that the old gods had rebelled against their creators, the Void Lords. Xal'atath is aligned with them. We learned from the new scenario that she waged war on them. In particular, she decided to attack Xal'atath and to attack the city of NY'ALOTHA. Now, here are two crazy new lore facts. So, first of all, there has been recent foreshadowing that old gods and their minions have been affected by Azeroth's world soul, hence the enhanced void forms, as they call it, and this might be exactly what allowed them to defeat Xal'atath and her void army. Even more interestingly, we learned that the old gods never really unite, but for this war against Xal'atath, they actually united, and I think this is because of NY'ALOTHA. It was hinted in the newest lorewalking scenario that Xal'atath had built something within this city that he really shouldn't have, as keep in mind, this is what triggered Xal'atath to begin an all-out war and to actually invade the city. At the moment, we can only speculate what it was, but let's just say it definitely has something to do with the World Soul conversion and that entire scenario. In fact, it might even be what is giving them their enhanced forms. Some people speculate that Xal'atath did something similar to Sargeras and what he did on Argus. Remember, Argus, yet another world soul. Sargeras came in, actually used the essence of the native soul to build an engine to empower his army. It's definitely possible NY'ALOTHA could have been used for that. Now, just real quick so that I don't really descend into mindless speculation here, one of the most recent hints that we just got is of a new mount from the PTR, and that happens within this time travel scenario, and it says this: a remnant of the Black Empire's past. These precursors of the Abyss Worm are once again resurging with the rise of NY'ALOTHA. Now, you might say, yeah, this is a lore walking time travel scenario, so this is just a mount from the past, but keep in mind they're talking about the rise of NY'ALOTHA, and also keep in mind a few things. First of all, we are getting this mount in the main timeline. Second, as I said, when it comes to old gods and time travel, it doesn't really work like that like it does for us. Remember, he recognized us, he talked to us in the present, despite us being in the ancient history of Azeroth. Now, if we keep in mind that something really bad was built within NY'ALOTHA and almost certainly related to the World Soul, that leads us to the speculation that NY'ALOTHA could be actually under khaz'algar. I know I talked about this a million times by now, but just hear me out for a super quick second. We've been to NY'ALOTHA, but NY'ALOTHA is currently not on Azeroth. We've only been there through an alternate timeline. Yet, obviously, this timeline is based on something that existed on Azeroth that could potentially exist again at some point in time, yet we never knew the actual location of this. It was never confirmed. Now, keep in mind, waking city, sleeping city, this is how we know NY'ALOTHA. In the past, this probably meant sleeping city with us in this like nightmare of a scenario, nightmare of a world, waking as in waking up related to this nightmare. However, with the new hints, I more and more think about the fact that this could literally be related to Azeroth and Azeroth's deep sleep, and that NY'ALOTHA was built exactly where the World Soul is. Now, the even more mind-blowing hint is the fact that NY'ALOTHA is also known as the sunken city. Previously, we were probably thinking something like Xal'atath is an underwater old god, so his city would obviously be a sunken city, but when we went there, it wasn't really an underwater city, there was no water. In fact, I really think this might be somehow related to khaz'algar, as remember, something is under the sea, and there is all this old god blood in this sea under the sea that has been hinted to us all throughout the War Within. Even crazier hint is that fish that you may remember that we had discovered in khaz'algar around the start of the War Within, that always was a form that Xal'atath himself took, and it just after the quest disappeared within the sea, where they said they're going to the sea where no light shines. I somehow think that NY'ALOTHA might have been where khaz'algar is, and its destruction is what caused everything else to happen. I know it might be all over the place right now, but let me really quickly present you what I think is the timeline. Also, real quickly, remember that Dragonflight hinted that the Titans didn't really fully cleanse Azeroth, they hid something beyond the waves so that we don't learn about it. So the timeline is something like this. The old gods come in as minions of the Void Lords, they start their conversion process. Xal'atath builds NY'ALOTHA as the conversion mechanism, something related to where Azeroth can be accessed to empower themselves. They banished the Void by defeating Xal'atath through this power. Titans came in, defeated the Black Empire, ripped out the Asheraj, but they couldn't just destroy NY'ALOTHA, so they probably made some crazy mess that they just deleted from the history books. This caused a giant problem, so Eonar tried to fix it with the Loon, they planted the World Tree, Amadul absolutely hated it, so he ripped it out, then he created the World Core mechanism. This leads us to today, where this mechanism is finally breaking and something crazy is about to be unleashed. This is like one of those archaeological excavations where you find layers of civilizations under civilizations. As it was hinted that the Titans couldn't really destroy it, that would mean that NY'ALOTHA remained just buried under all this stuff that came later, and Xal'atath may be trying to use that mechanism for something, maybe to start the Void invasion in Midnight. I know all this might sound crazy, but it really does make sense. I mean, there's so many hints we got. N'Zoth with the new whispers constantly for the past few years, N'Zoth fish, now new lore about NY'ALOTHA, Xal'atath, and N'Zoth. Then N'Zoth was in the War Within cinematic at the start, now the new mount talking about the rise of NY'ALOTHA, and also the literal return of horrific visions from BFA, like N'Zoth's horrific visions, not just random horrific visions. We were told the reason for the horrific visions returning is because something similar is about to happen any moment now, and we need to take on the lessons we got from the past. So it is one setup after the other that is constantly happening. Something is up, and I think we're going to learn what exactly it is very soon. Thank you for watching. Check out the horrific visions and how they may be showing Midnight instead of N'Zoth by clicking on the screen, and also check out my real world history channel by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.